as I am not. As we gather back together, though, I hope that you enjoyed a good night's sleep and are feeling ready to reconnect with the work and worship of the Regional Council. We're going to begin our time together this morning, sharing in a time of worship.
Good morning, everyone. And I'm Reverend Diane Marlock, and I come from you. I'm the minister at Tottenham United Church. So this morning's call to worship is responsive. Okay. In words and in songs, in stories and in prayers, in quiet times and in happy times, God is with us. As we gather, we celebrate God, who is of energy, life, and truth. Let us listen for the movement of the Spirit, inviting us to hear and see and feel God's presence in our midst. This morning, we will be singing together, Draw the Circle Wide. And for people that know the gestures and the movements that go with it, you're more than welcome to share that as we sing. Reading from Micah 6, verse 8. He has told you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you but to do justice and to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God? In the Bible, especially in the Hebrew scriptures, Two words are often paired: righteousness and justice. Righteousness is to be in right relationship with God. It is the bond between God and us that shapes our lives. Justice can be defined as the bond between God and God's people that shapes the world. Justice is bringing our different gifts together to move the world closer to God's intention for fullness of life for all. Today's reading from Micah tells us that God requires us to love kindness, to do justice, and to humble ourselves to God, to listen to others, to consider others before yourself. The United Church of Canada currently has 4 statements of faith, including the lengthy A Song of Faith, created in 2006, which includes the following words: in and with God, we can direct our lives towards right relationship with each other and with God. Jesus announced the coming of God's reign, a commonwealth not of domination, but of peace, justice, and reconciliation. Another set of words from this statement of faith are: he preached and practiced unconditional love, love of God, love of neighbor, love of friend, love of enemy. And he commanded his followers to love one another as he had loved them. Justice is when United Church people and congregations admit our painful role in residential schools and commit to reconciliation. Justice is when United Church people and congregations support the Canadian Food Grains Bank to be able to provide food in emergency situations and to promote long-term food security around the globe. Justice is when United Church people and congregations march in pride parades and speak out against the violence suffered by the Two-Spirit and LGBTQIA+ community. It can sometimes be seen as disruptive. Perhaps sometimes we feel even a little uncomfortable. Justice is when our faith and our humanity call us to act to support a just and lasting peace in Gaza and throughout the occupied Palestinian territories. Daring justice is when we are not afraid to respond to the world in faith. The presence of fear can affect the actions of faith communities. Individuals and governing bodies can be hesitant and fearful to make bold decisions because the future of the communities of faith can seem uncertain. Their decisions become guided by what involves the least risk of upsetting someone, the least risk to their financial sustainability. Daring justice is the call to respond together in faith, not in fear. Let us be daring as we glimpse God's vision for a world transformed, trusting that God, whose ways we seek to follow, will not forsake or forget us, but will dare us to leave our fears behind, to be in the world as people of deep spirituality, bold discipleship, and daring justice. May it be so. Let us pray. God, help us to continue in our struggles for justice. Help us to experience the fullness of life. and to share that life with all in the world. As we strive toward daring justice, may we stand in solidarity with the oppressed. May we have the courage and compassion to dismantle the systems of oppression in which we participate. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Let us now raise our voices together as we sing the hymn, Make Me a Channel of Your Peace. May the grace of God, deeper than our imagination, the strength of Christ, stronger than our need, and the communion of the Holy Spirit, richer than our togetherness, guide and sustain us today and in all our tomorrows. Amen.
We give thanks for all the ways our worship informs our work here today. Thank you, Diane, for grounding us in our faith as we begin. For those who are joining for the first time today, I'm sure there are some that couldn't make it yesterday. I'm Jennifer Irving. I use she, her pronouns. Today I'm wearing a black dress with cream-colored outlines of flowers. It's short-sleeved and has a V-neck. I was going to wear like this cowl-necked shawl over it, but it's just too hot. I do have on black leggings and still my winter shoes, although I'm wishing that I was wearing sandals. And I'm also wearing my blue metal glasses. I'm sporting a new shoulder-length brown hair. Thanks to the amazing and inspiring donations that were made on Zoom and on the floor of the meeting yesterday in short order. John Neff, our acting executive minister, is also sporting a new look and seems to have managed to wash off the purple. It was so funny last night when the purple remained even after the beard was removed. May our creative giving inspire other regional councils in this centennial year. Just a couple of things I want to draw your attention before our first presentation as we gather. Our chaplains are Ann Harbridge and Keith Reynolds here in the court, and I'll invite their contact information to be put on the screen and in the chat again for those who would like to reach out. Ann Harbridge's email is ann.harbridge@gmail.com, or you can text her at 705-440-3313. And Keith Reynolds' email is keith.avondaleuc, like United Church, @Whiteman, WIGHTMAN.ca, or you can text or call Keith at 226-880-3539. Also a reminder that our equity support team for this meeting consists of Crystal McGee and Beth Kerr in the court here, and John Egger on Zoom, and we'll put their contact information on the screen, hopefully. Do you want to radio up to them, John, to get those slides on the screen? And in the chat as we begin, Beth Kerr is Beth Kerr DM, like diaconal minister, @gmail.com, or you can text or call Beth at 204-872-2370. No one can write this fast, I know, but don't worry. It's all on a sign at the back door as well. And Crystal's email is Crystal with a KRISTAL @firstunited.os, like Owen Sound.com. Or you can text or call Crystal at 519-372-1812. If you need them at any time today, there's space for equity and quiet time in the Elgin room downstairs that can be used by anyone at any time throughout the day. If you have any comments or concerns around equity in our meeting, you can reach out to any one of them, and what you share will be received with reverence and love. A little reminder for those of you staying on site that we have to be out of our rooms by 10 a.m. And our first break is scheduled for 10:25. So if you haven't done that yet, you may have to miss something this morning. Go to your room and get your luggage. It can be brought into this plenary space if that's easier than taking it to your vehicle, and it is. Speaking of deadlines, a reminder that the deadline for new business is 11 a.m. this morning, and we have a slide with that, but if it doesn't make it up, that's fine too. But so new business, if there's anything that's come up, oh, look how fast they are. Look at that. You can bring it to Terry Smith, who's the chair of our agenda and business, and he just waved here in the court. You could stand up, Terry. Or you can email at treasurer@calvaryunited. Sorry, I didn't see the end of that. Anyway, I didn't write it down either, but you could email Terry as well. Now, let us move into our first presentation, which is, led by David Shearman online and Harry Disher from our Pastoral Relations Commission.
Good morning, delegates here at the Unifor Center, and good morning to delegates who in Zoomland who are in your own space, comfortably drinking whatever beverage you need to have at this time of the day. While we set up, oh, there we go. Our host is actually David Sherman, who's in our secret snug studio in Owen Sound. And I'm Harry Disher from Grand Bend, currently serving in the Egmontville United Church congregation. This is our Hello. This is our Saturday morning presentation entitled, Send Us a Minister.
Thank you, Harry. You might wonder, friends, what Send Us a Minister, Any Minister Will Do is all about. Well, let me explain. Send Us a Minister, Any Minister Will Do is actually the title of a book that was written about 45 years ago at Bangor Theological Seminary about student minister experiences. And it's stuck with me. I no longer have the book, but the title is still part of my own vocabulary. And if you're in that situation as a congregation, that's kind of how you might be feeling. Well, the Pastoral Relations Committee has some things it wants to say. Before I begin, I also want to add to our online delegates that one of the realities in this region is that 80% of the congregations who are on Church Hub and in Search are looking for less than full-time ministry, usually half-time. So if you attended the presentation by John Neff last night on collaborations, I think you can see we have possibilities at hand. Anyway, for one reason or another, your charge is without a minister. Well, congregations without a settled minister have options. They can use United Church Pulpit
David?
Supply. Yes.
Yes, for one reason or another, your pastoral charge is without a minister. And the people cried, help, we need somebody, help. Not just anybody, help. You know, we need someone, yeah.
Congregations without a settled minister have options. Well, they can ask Harry to sing solos, but in any case, you can use United Church Pulpit Supply from the Pulpit Supply list, which you will find on Church Hub. Congregations may use licensed lay worship leaders from the LLWL list, which can be requested from the Pastoral Relations Minister, Nicole Cottrell. And congregations may use their own members to lead worship on an occasional basis. Congregations are advised not to use non-United Church ministry personnel for liability reasons. Contact Nicole Cottrell for more information on this particular subject.
So, as you can easily understand, in the immediate future, there are many, many things you can go ahead acting on your own, because you know, I get by with a little help from my friends. Whoa, I'm gonna try with a little help from my friends.
Congregations without a settled minister have options. They can also request a member of the order of ministry who is without call or appointment and in good standing with the office of vocation to be appointed to the community of faith in the short term. A short-term appointment is for 6 months, renewable twice, for a total of 18 months. This may be full or part-time. A position description is required before appointment by the Pastoral Relations Commission.
Soon enough, your Pastoral Relations Commission is willing and ready to serve and help you by appointing and assigning a liaison to your pastoral charge, because we want to hold your hand. We want to hold your hand.
Within this 18-month period, congregations are required to complete their community of faith profile, which is found on toolkit number 2 on the region's webpage, and submit it to the Congregational Support Commission through John Neff. The Congregational Support Commission will approve the congregation for call or appointment.
We've got an invitation, so make a reservation. The magical mystery tour is waiting to take you away, waiting to take you away.
I'm not sure John actually has magic, but congregations can use this time. This is a time for deep reflection and discernment about their future. They may explore options to enter into a collaborative agreement for shared services with another community of faith, choose to amalgamate with another community of faith, or to disband. These decisions must be made in collaboration with the Congregational Support Commission.
This is true. This is the time for patience and prayer and discernment. Dear Prudence,
The Pastoral Relations Commission will appoint a liaison to act as a key informant and supporter of the community of faith in the next steps. Congregations can enter the search process, post their profile to Church Hub, interview applicants, and negotiate with a candidate.
yes, we will be alongside to accompany you as you journey along the long and winding road that leads to your door will never disappear. We've seen that road before.
Communities of faith can also choose to enter into an appointment as a student ministry experience, or SME, through the Office of Vocation, enter into an appointment with an active or retired member of the Order of Ministry, or as we are sometimes referred to as re-engaged pensioners, who might be without a call or appointment and is in good standing with the Office of Vocation. Congregations or communities of faith can also return to pulpit supply, licensed lay worship leaders, and church members for worship and for pastoral care. However, the pastoral charge supervisor named by the Congregational Support Commission is responsible for ensuring the provision of the sacraments. Not that they need to do it, but to ensure that the sacraments are provided.
So there you go. You say you got a real solution. Well, you know, we just want to see the plan. You want it for a contribution. Well, you know, we're all doing all we can.
And after a new minister, supply minister, or candidate for ministry is called or appointed on site and in place, there will be a covenanting service with the congregations at which a representative from the Pastoral Relations Commission of the region will be present to share in the celebration.
At which everybody might just burst into song and joy, going, oobla-dee, oobla-da, life goes on, ba, la, la, how the life goes on. Everybody sing, oobla-dee, oobla-da, life goes on, bra, la, la, how the life goes on.
While the Pastoral Relations Commission can't send you a minister, we can help you on the path to a healthy and sustaining pastoral relationship.
We will be with you in person or in line, in spirit and in prayer. Let it be, let it be, let it be, God, let it be. There will be an answer. Let it be.
I trust the president is happy that Harry has sung again. And now I believe Nicole Cottrell will be answering questions, or Harry can answer questions as he is a member of the commission. I can't hear what's going on in the plenary.
I'm going to defer to McCall. He's got better answers than I do. I might just give you a sung response.
Are we doing questions now? Yeah, okay. Kathy Duggan, Drayton United Church. Just to say that in response to Harry saying, I feel like I know what it's like to be dead. Also, I have experience with collaborative ministry, and there are some really practical things that I think the church needs to work out, and that is around compensation. Because let me tell you, especially if it's a short-term thing, or maybe even if it's long-term, I was in a collaborative ministry for 3 months while a church was waiting for their full-time minister to come. And any ministry personnel knows that ADP screws up our pay all the time, but throw collaborative ministry in there and sharing of hours into that mix, and it's a nightmare. So if this is really going to be the future, the church needs to think about how to make that process a lot smoother, because it kind of blew up everybody's brains trying to make that work in a smooth way so that I was getting compensated according to the agreement that had been made. I would also say that what we were told was that the other congregation, even though I was living in a manse, and so therefore that was part of my compensation from the one congregation, that the other congregation was under no obligation to contribute to housing support, which seemed to me to be inequitable, because if they were having a minister, they would have to pay. They would have to contribute to housing support. So basically what that meant was, if things had stayed that way, the congregation that I was at would have had the full responsibility for either housing allowance or manse, and the other congregation had no responsibility in that regard. So as it turned out, they had really good conversations, and the second congregation agreed to, on their own, make equitable contributions such that my housing, like the housing portion, was equitable between the two pastoral charges. But just to say, some of these really, I agree. I think pastoral ministry is collaborative ministry is hugely important. It's only going to become more important. But some of these practical things that are not really within the pastoral charges purview to sort out or make smooth need to be addressed at a higher level, so that these things can happen more easily and seamlessly, because it was an extremely time-consuming and frustrating experience. And if that's the way it is, then that's a discouragement. It's a disincentive for congregations to enter into that kind of model. So I just offer that as feedback, as someone who has participated in that model. And the Beatles joke was a joke, so I hope, like, Harry, don't take that personally. I'm just kind of trying to go on your theme, your Beatles theme there. So.
Can I answer that
Thank you,
question
Pat.
about compensation and salary? Am I still on?
Yeah, and
Yes, David, go ahead.
Okay. First of all, I understand the question about compensation. We actually solved this about 100 years ago in multi-point pastoral charges. And we've forgotten a lot of our lessons that we learned years ago. I happen to be in a collaborative agreement right now, and it's quite simple. I'm employed by one congregation. The other congregation pays a fee for service at an agreed upon rate to the other congregation. And now the manse issue needs to be sorted out, but that's where Neff's point about communication is critical, and I'm glad to hear that happened. But we've got to remember those lessons that we have learned many years ago and somehow have forgotten. It can be done. It is done. we just need to keep our heads about ourselves and think clearly. And believe me, this is something that the Pastoral Relations Committee is keeping an eye on. We fully understand the complications, and we try to work with congregational support to make this as smooth as possible.
Yeah, and I'll just add that John F. and the Congregational Support Commission work really hard in our regional council to work out the details of collaborative ministry. John has a wealth of knowledge, as anybody who went last night saw. But that is something that is discussed, and MANTS is something that is discussed quite a bit too. We don't have a lot of MANTSs around, but it is a piece that is paid attention to in collaborative ministry agreements. Thank you.
If I may, that was Mick Call getting down on his knees. That is his usual attitude as our pastoral relations minister. He was praying.
Can we recognize the microphone over here at the left of the court? Well, my left, right of the court.
Stage left. Greetings, friends. I'm Chris Gross from Hope Springs United Church, located in Elora. I'm not here with a question, but simply a huge thank you for the Pastoral Relations Committee, as well as for the Congregational Support Commissions, those two commissions. We've come through an amalgamation. We're coming up 3 years, and that the support that we received through Region has been phenomenal. And I just want to express a huge, huge thank you. And if you haven't reached out to them, please do, because they are a wealth of information.
Do we have anybody on Zoom that? Okay, let's recognize the hand up on Zoom.
I think that's me, Marilyn Bernard from Zion United Church in New Hamburg. Is it part of the process with the liaison person that they would be at the congregational meeting as well when the candidate is brought forward?
Yes, it is a requirement that the liaison be present at the congregational meeting.
Okay, thank you.
In person, online, or by Zoom. And if the liaison can't, then we need to find another liaison. So the date should be coordinated with the liaison, because we do find liaisons as quickly as possible. Harry has stepped up to be the liaison coordinator, but we have a limited number of liaisons. If you are interested, there is going to be training this before summer for liaisons. But yes, you need a liaison there in person, online, or by phone.
Thanks, Nicole.
It is. Oh, and Jane's also one of our liaison coordinators. And it is a lot of, you do get to share in the life of a church through the journey. And we're trying to appoint liaisons earlier to help throughout the whole process. So that is still unfolding, but that is happening now.
Anybody else online? Questions? Nope. Thank you. Thanks, David. That was a fantastic presentation.
Oh, sorry. I just wondered if the, is there, I know this is being really heavily promoted. I mean, maybe this isn't a question you can answer in this forum, but given the number of pastoral charges that are, as you say, are offering less than full-time ministry, and yet go years and years without regular ministry personnel, like, is there any sense that regions or the national church are going to start saying to congregations, you now must at least be really intentionally exploring collaborating with other congregations, whatever that might look like, because it's not, you can't make a living at full-time or at half-time ministry compensation. That's just a reality.
Thank you for that question. We are a conciliar church, and so the regional council does not have the authority to say you must collaborate. We only encourage conversations about collaboration and help support the process of collaboration.
Yeah, that's a no.
Right, so that's a no.
I can also, so that I'm aware of some pastoral charges who have gotten used to the idea of rotating pulpit supplies and their own lay leadership and figured out that is a viable ministry for us and we can live with that too. But that comes from living with it and discerning that we're still okay, we're still here, and we can get by with this help from our friends. It may not be ideal to the rest of us, but it works well for them. So that's always an option as well.
Okay, I want to thank the Pastoral Relations Commission for helping us to understand a little more and going a little deeper in our connections with the Pastoral Relations Commission. Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Next on our agenda, we have Andrew Hyde, Chair of our Discipleship and Justice Commission, sharing some of the work of that commission now.
Well, good morning, everyone. And good morning to those who are joining us online through Zoom. My name is the Reverend Andrew Hyde, and I use he, him pronouns. I serve as the Ecumenical Chaplain at the University of Guelph, and I'm here to you today in my role as outgoing chair of the Discipleship and Justice Commission. I wonder, well, first of all, I should say I can't promise a concert or any songs here, but I can promise you numbers and charts and even a graph. Woo! But we'll have fun regardless, because this is important work and things that good news stories that I think I want to share, make sure the whole court is aware of too. First of all, I wonder if there are any members of the Discipleship and Justice Commission here in the court. I wonder if you would mind standing up so we could applaud you and give you thanks for your work. And if there's anyone joined on Zoom, maybe give a little wave or something like that so we can recognize you as well. This is a group of folks, some of whom are here, some of whom aren't, on staff as well, that do important work, and it's fun when we get together, and I'm just so appreciative of our commission members. So can we give them a round of applause? Thank you. And I mentioned I am the outgoing chair of this commission, so I can answer your questions for the next about 2 months or so, as I'm filling in Reverend Kate Ballesteeper, who is the minister at Harcourt United in Guelph, will be the new chair, and will be starting kind of midsummer or so. So if you have complaints, give them to me so that Kate can start with all your praise and adulation, okay? The Discipleship and Justice Commission does important work in our region to support and network and fund some of the really important entities that are doing the work of discipleship and justice. And you think of discipleship and kind of what it means to grow in the way of Christ, what it means to be formed as young people or as adults as well, as we walk the path of Jesus. That is the work of discipleship. Some of it happens, lots of it happens in local congregations, but it also happens in settings that are outside of what we think of as traditional communities of faith. So we're thinking of our camps, thinking of some of our outreach ministries, thinking of our chaplaincies and things like that, which sometimes, and I've been kind of a bugaboo about this at the executive, is reminding ourselves that our church is more than just our local congregations, right? And so sometimes the work of discipleship and justice is a window into that aspect of our church, and I recognize it is a bit of a privileged view, and one that doesn't always, come home to the pews in our congregations. So I would just encourage you to remind yourselves that the work of the church is broader than what happens in the local congregation, and it spills out into important justice networks as well. I'll mention a few of those at the end of our presentation today. We want to share with you around some accountability pieces, particularly around the 3 funds that the Discipleship and Justice Commission administers. And so if you go to the next slide, those 3 funds are the mission support grants that we administer. Sometimes folks will remember those grants as pre-existing the regions. Those are things we were used to in the conference system as well. So that work continues. That is a way that we support important ministries like chaplaincies, like our camps and more. So we want to report back about the mission support grants. Those decisions get made in the fall, and one of the kind of rhythmic kind of challenges is that we have to wait until the fall meeting where the budget gets approved before we know how much funding we have to distribute. So that's why at the fall meeting, we're not able to share any kind of news about successful applications or what we're supporting, because we need that budget to be approved before we can do the work of assessing the things. So that makes sense? So I'm going to report to you the decisions that we made this past fall about those mission support grants. We also administer the Kitchener-Waterloo Post-Secondary Fund. This is a much smaller fund where we get to, is set aside specifically to use the interest from this fund to support chaplaincy with university and college students in KW. So I've got some good news to report there. And then I want to continue lifting up the Ministry with Children, Youth, and Young Adults Fund. This is a fund that historically has been underutilized in our region. And we are making headway in terms of, who knew that giving away money was so hard? But we are making headway, and I want to report some of that and encourage you to make applications to that fund, okay? So those are my 3 kind of goals in our time together, okay? Next slide. Our mission support assessments, our mission support priorities are listed here on this slide. These are kind of the principles or the priorities that guide the decision-making that happens around how we assess mission support applications. A little reminder that mission support is, what we're raising money for. This is why we get haircuts. So this is why we shave our beards, and this is why we do the important work of supporting mission and service in the United Church of Canada, because some of it comes back to our region in the form of mission support grants. So when we are champions of mission support, it directly influences the kind of ministry that happens here in our region, okay? So we are going to see the fruit of our mission support championing as well. Our priorities here in this region are right relations, and then camps, youth, and faith formation. We kind of squished 3 into one priority there, and then chaplaincy. I want to make sure you're aware on the front bit, or one of the early pages in our workbook for this meeting, it lists the 3 mission support priorities, and it actually lists the Horseshoe Falls priorities, dun, 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 which are almost the exact same thing. But a little bit of nuance. Ours are right relations, camp, youth, faith formation, and then chaplaincy, okay? So if we go to the next slide, I want to report on how much we had to share, how much we had to award, and where we awarded that for this current year. So this is the 2025 mission support grants. And I hope you can see the numbers there. I'm going to read them out just in case it's tricky to see, but also give a chance to highlight these important ministries. So through our mission support grants, we support Camp Bimini. Camp Bimini, I see, has a table over here, and you can gather some important information about them. We want to pray for our camps, especially as they get ready for the summer this summer. We also support Camp Manetsatung to the tune of $15,000 this year. Also a table over here as well, thinking of our camps. We support the ecumenical campus ministry. If you want to learn more about the campus ministry at U of G, I'd be happy to talk to you later. I also want to note that because I obviously have a conflict of interest in this application, I do not take part in the discernment around assessment, around awarding mission support grants. Also, a number of our members have connections with other applicants, and so all commissioners who have a connection with an applying ministry do not participate because of that conflict of interest, which I think is good process, but it also means that when our number of commissioners is at the minimum and some have to step back because of conflict of interest, you get to a point where it is hard to make decisions with not as many people at the table. So just a little plug for joining the Discipleship and Justice Commission, because some of our work needs a few extra voices. Does that make sense? Okay, so we've been struggling a little bit at kind of the minimum level of people on our commission, and we would really love to receive some more expressions of interest to pump up those numbers a bit, because we know when it comes to this kind of discernment, we lose some people because of those connections. Does that make sense? Okay. We also support Five Oaks through mission support as well around some of their regular programming, which includes right relations work down at Five Oaks. We support the Grey Bruce Spiritual Care Council and the important chaplaincy work that they have done for so long. We recognize and invite your prayers for this Grey Bruce Spiritual Care Council as they are discerning their future. There's been lots of changes to the ways in which hospitals up in Grey Bruce are providing spiritual care support, and the Grey Bruce Council is trying to figure out if they have a place in that moving forward. So just invite your prayers for that important chaplaincy network and work, and we're going to try our best as the Discipleship and Justice Commission to support them as they make those discernments as well. Okay. We support The Hub, which is a regional network of youth ministry and a gathering of camp people throughout the year. We support Silver Lake Camp, which is the third of our regional camps. Want to celebrate a little bit. People might not have known, this is the first time Silver Lake has received funding from mission support. Which might seem a little bit strange, but just because of how they are administered through United Church Outdoor Ministries, it has been a challenge to get an application from them for mission support. This is the first year, because of the work particularly that our staff have done to connect with that really important camp in our midst. And so it's great to kind of bring Silver Lake into the fold and support them through the work of the Discipleship and Justice Commission. And then we have two Westminsters that we are supporting. Westminster in Orangeville is doing a great food security and children's program that we're supporting. And Westminster United in Waterloo has funding for a small little part-time role around social justice and right relations, which is exciting work that happens. If you are, and I know you all have the past years of mission support recipients ingrained in your memory, I'm sure. But you might notice that this is the first year that the two resource centers do not appear on this list. And so that is a challenge, and that is in some ways with some sadness. But just as we assess the priorities, after many years of deliberation about whether resource centers fit the priority list anymore, this is the first year that those two, the one at Five Oaks, the Grand River, and the one in Mitchell, do not appear here. So that is not by no means a kind of comment on the importance or the work that goes on by resource centers, but it is instead a challenge that to say, if we do think resource centers are important, we need to find ways to make sure they continue the support and support the work that they do. We've discerned that mission support is not the way to fund that, to support that, because of the priorities that our region has affirmed. Does that make sense? Okay, so a little challenge, a little prayerful gauntlet thrown to you to come around the resource centers if you determine that those are important to you. Okay? Great, thank you. So you'll see our total that we were able to give away this year was $135,000. The amount that gets asked for every year far exceeds that, okay? So know that the deliberations are taken with prayer and with care, and some hard decisions have to be made every single year. And we give thanks to the Discipleship and Justice Commissioners for that important work, okay? If you go to the next slide, I want to highlight a bit of a trend. When we look at the 3 priorities that we do have, and those being chaplaincy, camps and youth and faith formation, and right relations. In my looking at how the award recipients were awarded this year, but I think it's also consistent with past years, so it's a bit of a trend. We see that the amount of funding we have to give away, probably about half of it goes to camps and youth and faith formation. Maybe not quite half goes to chaplaincy, and then a very small sliver goes to right relations. And that's not because the Discipleship and Justice values the other 2 priorities over the right relations priority. This is because we don't receive many applications in the area of right relations, okay? So this is just a little challenge, and I'll even say that 9% came from 2 applications that you had to kind of squint to see the right relations part in them, okay? So just a little bit of a challenge that it is important to do more than just name a priority. We have to actually live into our priorities. And we, as the Discipleship and Justice Commission, can only award money for applications that we receive. So if you have a project or know of a ministry that is doing important work in right relations, this is an area that we want to support to a greater extent than we currently are. Okay, does that make sense? So encourage folks to send in applications, to be imaginative. We want to do more than just name right relations on paper as a priority. We want to actually do the work. And doing the work, part of it means submitting applications, okay? I'm going to move on to the second fund that we administer, and this is the KW Post-Secondary Fund. I think when I was up here last year, I had suggested that there was an inkling, a possibility of good news on this front. This is a fund that we're able to award $4,000 every year to programs and ministries that come alongside university students in Kitchener-Waterloo. So that could be at Waterloo, it could be at Laurier, it could be at Conestoga, any of those institutions in Waterloo. And last year I told you there was something in the works that we might have the possibility of naming a new chaplain to Waterloo. And I just want to report back that that has been successful, that we've been in contact with Waterloo, and we now have Reverend Hoan Lee, is the minister at First United, is now our representative at Waterloo, which is great news. And we were able to award last year the KW Post-Secondary Fund to support that work. We expect, although we haven't yet received, another application from Waterloo to continue, or from First United to continue in this work. So I just encourage your prayers for this revitalization of this ministry. Folks who know the University of Waterloo will know that for many, many years we've had both chaplaincy support there, and St. Paul's College has been the important United Church connection at Waterloo. St. Paul's obviously is no longer United Church affiliated, although it's funny they changed their name to United College, which actually sounds more United Church than it did when they were United Church. But anyway, so now Reverend Lee is our connection at Waterloo, and it's exciting days for us there. And so yeah, just I encourage your support and reaching out to him, especially if you have students or young people who are studying at the University of Waterloo. Okay. And next slide. This is the last little piece I want to lift up. We have this other fund. The third fund that we administer is the Ministry with Children, Youth, and Young Adults Fund. This is a sizable fund. This is a large investment that we get to spend the interest on every year, and there's always kind of a little bit of figuring out what we have to give, what we have to award every year. This year, we are able to award $64,000 for programs dealing with children and youth and young adults within our region. For years, this has been hardly touched at all. Okay, and I think it's because people don't know about this fund, more so than there aren't good programs that need funding in our region. Okay, so we want to make those connections. Know the resources are here. I would venture to say, when we look at the resources available, considering our priorities in mission support and this substantial fund, we are probably one of the best resourced regions for ministry with children, youth, and young adults. But we don't always do a good job of connecting the people doing the work with the resources that are available. So we're excited that we have received some applications and been able to award some money even this far into the year. And so you can see the projects there that we've been able to award so far this year. We are $24,000 into spending that $64,000. It is our goal, it is our hope to be able to give that entire amount of money away this year to successful applications, but we need your help. We need your youth groups, we need your Sunday schools, we need your camps. Anything that you are doing with children, youth, or young adults, we need your applications because we want to give you money. And stuff. So you'll see some of the exciting folks who have responded so far. Port Elgin, just right here in town, is doing a neat program. We have a neat retreat that's being run by some of our regional staff as well. A great experience out of Pine River, taking a group of young people to Zimbabwe. Wonder, amazing. How wonderful is that? A great event coming up this fall in Stratford. Some folks might be aware of Worship Lude that happens in Ottawa. That's where youth groups go up to Ottawa, crash, sleep in church basements and stuff, and go to Winterlude, you know, skating on the canal and stuff every February. Well, Avondale in Stratford here wants to do a similar thing and invite people to come see a play at Stratford. What a gift that is to our church, right? And we expect great things to happen from that. So keep an eye out for more opportunities like that. We are sending Youth Forum delegates to Calgary this summer, so expect to hear more about that coming up. And then the Go Project is continuing to develop and deepen what it offers to the church. And we're excited to support you in your auditing, consulting type program. So I'm sure you'll hear more about that from Alana, or if you're interested in receiving some coaching around your youth ministry efforts, talk to Alana and the Go Project as well. So we are about a third of the way to giving away all of our money for this year in that. And the good news is, we'll be able to give out a whole bunch of more money next year too, okay? So let's use the resources that we have at our disposal, okay? So in closing, last slide here, I want to encourage you to apply to the resources that are available. Make applications to mission support, particularly in the area of right relations. Make application to the Ministry with Children, Youth, and Young Adults Fund if you have young people you are trying to serve. We, as a commission, can only go so far as responding to the applications that we get. So we need it to come up from the grassroots, okay? We also encourage you to consider joining the Discipleship and Justice Commission. It is a fun group to be part of. It is important work and a great way to get to know the different folks who are doing important things that are outside of our regular local congregations. And then lastly, I'll encourage you to connect with the networks that connect in with our commission as well. It is sometimes tricky to have a grasp on what all the different groups are doing important things, but I want to highlight a couple that we connect with: the Social Justice Network of Ontario Regional Councils, the Kairos initiatives, the Kairos groups. There was a thing out in the newsletter recently encouraging you to connect with a local Kairos group in your area, and if there isn't one, to start one. So let's connect with Kairos, because they are a tool at our disposal. The United Network for Justice and Peace in Palestine and Israel is around. The Affirming Network, the new Palestine Network that led a workshop last night as well, and of course UCW, and there's likely others too. If you are part of those networks, I want to encourage you to connect with the Discipleship and Justice Commission. We'd love for you to send a delegate to part of our commission and report into. So we want to strengthen those networks. We want to give away the resources that we have at our disposal and do the important work of following in the way of Christ and supporting the work of justice in our region. Okay. I'm happy to take any questions from the floor or from online. I see Gord is over here as well. Thanks, Gord.
Now, my question is from online. The query was the last fund about which you were speaking, ministry with children, youth, and young adults. Why aren't the camps tapping into that one instead of the mission support grants?
Yeah, good question. I think my hunch would be, like everyone else, it is becoming aware and familiar with the funds that exist. I'd love to support our camps with mission support and with ministry and children and youth and young adults. We are of the opinion that we want to give away the money until we are at the point, you know how at mission support we get asked for more than we have to give? Until we get in the same situation with our ministry and children and youth and young adults, once we get there, what a blessed problem to have, right? And so, yes, if we get to that point, then we might have to talk about kind of like, well, camps should be supported from here so we can promote these priorities from here and stuff too. The challenge for us, I think, is to receive the breadth of applications that make that kind of discerning important and strategic. Does that answer the person's question? Good? Yeah? Okay, great. Any other questions? In that case, to end off, Zach Davidson. Is Zach around? Zach, do you want to come up? Zach is one of our young folks who is participating here. And I think, Zach, you've got some information for us about a game that's happening a little bit later. Okay, can we give a round of applause to Zach?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Zach Davidson, and I come from George and George United Church, Owen Sound. The youth are leading an activity during theme time. When you get back from break, you must sit at a table with a large white card. Please do not look at the card on your table until we tell you to. This may mean you need to sit at a different table. For those of you online, you will be playing too. There will be a card on your screen. Thank you.
Now that we're all very curious and want to quickly get to break and theme time, I have to present a proposal. As we prepare for our first proposal of today, I want to remind everyone that if you're getting up to a microphone or are being spotlighted on Zoom to share with the court, please state your name with your preferred pronouns and your community of faith or a ministry role or ministry or role at the meeting. I also forgot to mention yesterday, actually I don't even see it on the table, but Crystal brought me the president's gavel from the Tri-Regional Council office, and I'm not afraid to use it. Actually, I am afraid to use it, so I invite you to please keep our brave statement and affirming anti-racist and right relation commitments before you as you're sharing so that I won't ever have to, okay? Do you have an announcement, Judy? Before we get to this.
Okay, so Judy's Rubik, she, her, and hospitality person. So, yay. Those of you who still have your keys to your rooms, you can leave them at the hospitality desk and we will make sure they get to where they need to go because the front desk is closed. So apparently Liz and I have keys to get you back in the building, we hope. So if you leave the building, you're taking your chances. My phone number's around other places, so you can always phone and tell me where you are, and we will try and accommodate bringing you back into the building. So I think that was all I had to say.
Okay. All right, so with that information, we move into proposal number 2. The originating body for this proposal is a recruitment team, of which I am a part, so that is why I'm presenting this proposal. The Western Ontario's Waterway Regional Council recruitment team of Rebecca Duncan, myself, and Heather Leffler would like to thank all of our faithful volunteers and staff of the Regional Council, and especially those who put their names forward to serve on our executive commissions as pastoral charge supervisors and liaisons, and members of our new student and candidate support network. When it came time to discern a slate for this meeting, we were nervous because we hadn't received very many expressions of interest prior to this meeting. And when we decided to make up the table and invite nominations from the floor while we were gathering, we weren't sure how that was going to work out. And we lived into hope, and our hopes were realized and more. Thank you to everyone who discerned a call to serve in this time together, both online and filling out expressions of interest, and here in the room using the copies that we had at the back. If you hadn't had a chance and you didn't get it to us last night before 9, this isn't our last chance to appoint people to the executive and commissions. So if you are still just wondering about a call you might have to serve in a wider capacity in the regional council, we invite you to continue to discern and to feel comfortable submitting an expression of interest at any time. But we give thanks for all those who did discern a call and submitted those applications. So we had some to discern, and we asked for some help in discerning the appointments to our commissions and the slate that we're presenting today. We invited Gord Dunbar and Ann Harbridge to help last night. On behalf of the recruitment team, we also want to thank those who are completing their terms or had to resign or step aside from their roles for any reason in the past year. From the executive, Andrea Allen. From the Congregational Support Commission, Rebecca Duncan, who steps into the role as president, so must leave her role as a commissioner. Norm Egenram, Leslie Fox, and Ann Harbridge, who's completing the end of her second term on that commission and so must step down and will be missed as she has been chairing that commission. From the Discipleship and Justice Commission, Edith Coyle, Kathy Hurd, and Andrew Hyde, who steps down after his first term as the chair on that commission. But from Pastoral Relations, no one. We remain the same. We keep that. Everyone who is serving there is able to continue and has not completed their second term, and so we give thanks. We come before you with a slate of commissioners and executive at each of these meetings because the regional council can best fulfill its decision-making responsibilities if it has a full slate of diverse members in decision-making roles. So we invite you as a regional council to consider agreeing to approve the slate discerned by the recruitment team as presented on the floor of the Court of Western Ontario Waterways Regional Council spring meeting, May 3rd, 2025. This slate reads, for the executive, Robert Lawson, ordained minister, who will serve as a member at large and a diversity. For the Congregational Support Commission, Gord Dunbar, ordained minister, and Margaret Ruggles, diaconal minister. For the Discipleship and Justice Commission, Megan Gilholm, lay, Judy Jones, lay, Dan Lever as a diaconal minister. The Pastoral Relations Commission, Lori Campbell, ordained minister, and John Greg Smith, ordained minister. And excitingly, for the Student Candidate Support Network, Lisa Leffler, student or candidate for diaconal ministry, Robert Lawson, ordained minister, Rebecca Duncan, ordained minister, Gord Dunbar, ordained minister. Please note that as we formed this idea to create this student and candidate support network in our regional council, we hope for a student or candidate for ordination, a diaconal minister, and a lay person to serve as well, to round out that support network, as well as other members at large. But we're so thankful to be able to name these as those willing to serve right now and begin the work of this important network within our regional council. All these names that I'm presenting to you on the floor this morning will be added to those who continue to serve on the executive and our commissions at this time. Are there any questions for clarification regarding this motion? At the microphone over here, recognize.
Order of Ministry?
Do that again, Jane.
Jane Sullivan, whoa. Order of Ministry, Creemore New Lowell, Pastoral Charge. I just wanted it noted, at least in the minutes, if not in the court, of the retirement of Doug Hayward, who chaired the Pastoral Relations Commission back when it was called something else, and has since retired from all his work, because he was our glue for a long time, so he should definitely be recognized from the mic.
Absolutely. Yes, we thank Doug Hayward. Thank you so much. As we were sitting together late last night going, who left and who? We should not have missed Doug, because his work on that commission has been instrumental and monumental. So a big thank you from the court to Doug as well. That was a perfect question for clarification. And are there any other questions for clarification? I see someone running to the microphone.
Roz Vincent Haven from Emmanuel United Church in Waterloo. And I just want to clarify that I'm a diaconal minister, not an ordained minister.
Oh, yeah.
You've got an OM instead of a DM on the sheet.
In the workbook?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much, Roz. We'll make sure to make that correction. Heather apologizes. And I apologize for not catching it.
Jennifer?
Oh, sorry, Gord, yes.
Gord Dunbar, ordained minister, him, community host for Zoom. The question is, what would be the expectations of someone who is a candidate for ministry on the support network?
The network has not met yet, and so how that network exactly will function is up to those who serve on the network. So it'll be determined by those who are serving what that looks like exactly, what ways support will be offered, and what ways they'll work together to support students and candidates within our regional council. So I can't exactly answer that. But if someone was willing to serve, it would be an opportunity for them to discern together with that network what that service would look like. Do you have more to add, Heather?
Just thinking, if that's a question about maybe time commitment, I would assume the meetings would be on Zoom. I think the mandate offers maybe one in-person gathering. So you know, it's going to be a few times in the year to get together, to plan a gathering, to find ways to connect. It's not going to be a weekly or monthly commitment, I don't think. I think that much we could say.
And that was Heather Leffler from the recruitment team. Rockwood Stone, pastoral charge, she, her pronouns. Are there any changes or additions to the proposal? Okay, then I'm going to ask for a mover and a seconder. Heather Leffler, Roz Vincent Haven. Is there anyone else who would like to speak to this motion? I'm going to call the, yes. Yep. Thank you, Gord. So the person who was asking is willing to put their name forward, so we'll, but they're still discerning a little bit, so we will look forward to receiving that expression of interest in the near future, but we won't add any names to this list at the moment. So I will call the question and invite the Zoom poll to be launched. All those in favor? Those opposed? We'll just give a minute for the Zoom poll. Like a
49 out of 49 so far.
okay, well, it sounds like that is carried. I like my excitement's building. I'm just so excited. It's always so wonderful to be able to name new people to our executive and our commission and ensure that the work is being done. And I just give so many thanks in this, like, coming off the week of volunteer appreciation. It is with enthusiasm that we have presented this slate, and we look forward to working together. Thank you for your attention this morning. You're invited to take a 20-minute break and be back here by, that makes it 10:43 by my watch, for a couple more short presentations, and then our Going Deeper theme that we are waiting for with our youth at Regional Council. Announcements before the break, are there any? Aside from the one that Judy just makes, I'll just announce this now, but I'll also announce it before lunch, that there's going to be a choir practice planned at 1 p.m. after lunch at the bar. So it'll just be a short practice. Probably it's a song that everyone's familiar with, that we could get together like a little choir for our closing worship today. So if you're interested in singing together with that choir, 1 p.m. in the bar, and I'll announce that again later. All right, so Tanya, do you want to have an announcement? Oh, the microphone on the stage right.
Tanya Cameron, vocational minister serving Western Ontario Waterways. This is a really good time to think that if you have not yet had an opportunity to do your annual declaration with respect to criminal charges, the deadline is June 30th, but it really honestly takes like 5 minutes. So if you've not yet done that, you might want to do that in the next week or so. Sarah and I would be really thankful if you could do that. Thank you.
Oh, there's another one for, while Judy's making her way to the microphone, I'll recognize Heather.
Heather Leffler, she, her, Rockwood Stone. Some of you will know that our daughter Sarah died in February. We have small mementos that we made, and I'm going to pass them around the table. If you knew Sarah or want to remember her, we'd be happy if you'd take one.
Thanks, Heather. Gord?
Gord Dunbar, he, him, the goofball that's online. I have some information that was asked to be announced there was a premiere of the visual album by the the Juno Award, 3-time Juno Award winning artists, Sultans of String, in collaboration with Métis, First Nations, and Inuit leaders across the nation. And it's called Walking Through Fire. And the premiere was last night at Parkminster United Church in Waterloo. Declare conflict of interest, that's where I'm serving currently. And 235 people attended, even though the tickets were free.
That's amazing. Judy?
Judy Zarubik, her hospitality person. There's cookies.
I was totally going to mention that. Yet I spied them back there. I'm going to make my way. I can't believe you waited through all the... Oh, one more announcement over here, but don't forget cookies at break, and there's coffee and tea over there, and lots of displays to check out. Brenna?
That's what I was going to say. There's mission and service and stewardship resources and a big poster of Reverend Andrew talking about the impact of mission and service on Guelph Ecumenical Ministry. Also, because my daughter's not in the room right now, I have lots of candy at my table, so come and grab it. And any other freebies that you need for mission and service to promote it and support it in your community of faith.
Thank you. This is going to be the best party break ever. And because, announcements took long, and I don't want to steal from your break. Now you don't have to come back until 10:47.
The meeting chat is open, so if you want to chat to anyone specific, you can pick their name and chat with them. But if you're going to chat to the group, I need you to just go to the chat box and click the arrow down and select meeting group chat. So I'm saying that now because we might need it when we're playing the bingo. Because I think that I don't think we're going to be able to select a square if none of us online here haven't had that.
Good morning, Court. As a guest, I don't have the authority to call you back into session, but as a guest, I was also given 15 minutes, which I would like to not make you sit all through. So my name's Jacob Birch. I'm from the Canadian Bible Society. My pronouns are he, him, and I'd love for you to come back to your seats so that I can make my presentation in 10 minutes or less. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, that's what we have on next. Bible Society. Okay, we should be starting. So folks online, if you can just change your meeting room chat to meeting.
Good morning, Western Ontario Waterways Regional Council. My name's Jacob Birch. I'm a guest here. I work for the Canadian Bible Society. My pronouns are he, him. And I'm going to ask for your help this morning during my presentation. When I ask you the question, because of who, I want you to respond with the two-word answer, our partners. Can we practice together? Because of who?
Our partners.
Because of who?
Our partners.
Western Ontario Regional Council, because of who?
Our partners.
Well, I'm here today to say thank you, United Church of Canada, because of who?
Our partners.
Because of partners like you, the Canadian Bible Society has been operating here in what is today called Canada since 1804. Our very first project was helping a Mohawk believer in 1804 translate the Gospel of John into his people's heart language. And since then, we've been able to be part of the fabric of the Christian church here in Canada since that time. Next slide, please. Thanks to who?
Our partners.
Well, our United Church partners like you. Over the last 3 years, we've had 59 different United churches and groups associated with United churches partner with us, for which we're very thankful. And these Western Ontario Waterways partner churches include Bellwood St. John's. Is Bellwood St. John's here? Show of hands. Yes, is that you? Wonderful. Thank you very much. Forest Hill, UCW, very nice. Morriston, Mount Carmel. Morriston, Mount Carmel, maybe not. Shallow Lake. Wingham. Anybody? And your church name could be here. And so thanks to who? You've together, if you just hit spacebar there, please, 86 plus years of support from Western Ontario Waterways Regional Councils, United Churches, and for that, we are very, very thankful. Next slide, please. We're thankful that thanks to who? Next slide, please. We're able to engage in 4 different activities. We help translate the Bible. We publish Bible and Bible-based resources. We distribute the Bible. Last year, over 640,000 scriptures or scripture portions across Canada. I just yesterday was on the phone call with the chaplain at Lighthouse Harbor Ministries in Vancouver, British Columbia. We printed for them 7,000 English New Testament Psalms and Proverbs that they've been going on to the ships in Vancouver and handing out. And they're down to less than 500 in just about 6 years. And so thanks to who? Thanks to partners like you. There are seafarers and their families around the world who are hearing God speak through his word because of partners like you. We also help people engage there, as you see, with the Bible they have. There's something like 8 Bibles for every Canadian. But of course, we did a study a couple years ago, thanks to who? Our partner in this case was Cardis, that found out that the average Canadian Christian, only 8% of Canadian Christians read their Bible more than once a week. And so this is our great challenge when it comes to that 4th area of activity there, engagement. Next slide, please. Thanks to who? Almost every year, the First Nations Translator Workshop, which is pictured on the screen here, happens in the Western Ontario Waterways Regional Council area at Guelph Bible Conference Grounds. This is a picture from 2 years ago. There are translators there from the Naskapi Nation in far northeastern Quebec. The people with their backs to us are actually folks who are part of the Blackfoot. They speak Siksika in southern Alberta. And next slide, please. They come together because of the United Church of Canada and your foundation, which for 30 plus years, thanks to who? You were part of funding the completion of the Bible in Mohawk, which was celebrated in 2023. Let's give yourselves a big round of applause. This is Harvey Satewis Gabriel, who was, I say, kind of with great reverence, but also in some way bittersweet. We had originally started out with you with a translation team of 5. But as the translation ground on, Harvey was the only one left. And so there are some very poignant videos, both produced by the United Church of Canada as well as by CBS, about his testimony of translating the Bible for his people. Thanks to who? Our partners, in this case, the United Church of Canada. So we translate, next slide please. We also distribute, we make the Bible physically available in Canada in about 75 different languages. This is a picture of our Winnipeg bookstore. We also distribute through the mail and online. We actually have 3 physical bookstores left, one in Winnipeg, one in Toronto, one inside the old city walls of Quebec City, and then we have an online portal, which I'll give the URL of at the end, biblescanada.com. We used to have 17 different bookstores, but then there was a little company that got into the books and Bible selling business. Maybe you've heard of it, Amazon. Anybody heard of Amazon here? They disrupted our ministry model, and so we're living in the echoes of that, had to shut a lot of the bookstores down. But so interestingly, we have, sitting in our warehouse today, I have 4,000 Farsi New Testaments that are kind of burning a hole in my back pocket that I would love to have sent in batches of 100 or 200 to your churches. I was in Thornhill Presbyterian Church this last Sunday, and their church has basically doubled in size in the last 2 or 3 years because of new Canadians from Iran who are interested in the gospel, and they've been able to give them the word of God, in this case the Injil in Farsi, their own heart language. Next slide, please. Well, we translate, we publish, we also distribute. This is a picture here of some Mohawk children who, for the first time, not this last Christmas, but 2 Christmases ago, were able to receive from us a gift bag with no longer an English or a French Bible, but for the first time, a Bible in Mohawk, in their own heart language that they can read together. And so 2025 is many things. It is the 10th anniversary of the 94 calls to reconciliation from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. Calls 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all about Indigenous language reclamation. And thanks to who? Thanks to your work with the Mohawk, with us for many years, we now have 4 different First Nations translation projects going on across the country, from the Kakwala on Vancouver Island, to the Blackfoot in southern Alberta, to the Ojibwe in the northeastern and northeastern Manitoba, and northwestern Ontario, as well as the Naskapi, all because of your walking with us and the Mohawk. They've been inspired to complete the Bible in their own language so that their children, the next generation, can hear God speak in their own heart language. Next slide, please. If you're looking to have any resources donated to you, you want to talk about how to help your young people, you want to talk to how to get audio Bibles for seniors. We have a foundation here in Ontario that is making solar-powered audio Bibles for frail seniors available. Contact either myself, come to my table, or our regional director here in Ontario, Kevin Schlechter, because we would love to get New Testaments, Bibles into your hands to get out to your people as they desire. Next slide, please. The last thing we do is help people engage. And with Canadian Christians, only 8% of them reading the Bible more than once a week, it's a tough challenge that you're facing. But thanks to who? Thanks to our partners. We've developed resources that they call, our programs team call a ministry toolkit, which can help you help your people hear God speak in their time of crisis. If they are in need of trauma care, we have a Bible-based trauma healing curriculum that is spreading across Canada, particularly in Indigenous communities, called Caring for the Wounded Heart. If your people are suffering from and dealing with difficult life-altering addictions, we have an addiction recovery program called Overcomers, which is in a more Bible-based, if you want to put it this way, version of AA. And then lastly, we have something for the curious called the Bible Course, where in 8 weeks, Dr. Andrew Arlington from Cambridge University in England takes the participants of the Bible course from Genesis to Revelation, helping see the big story of the Bible and how our story fits into it. Next slide, please. Well, thanks to who? You've been helping us since 1804 translate the Bible, publish biblical resources, distribute the Bible to people on ships and in First Nations and in church basements, and you're helping us hear God speak by opening the Word for themselves. We couldn't do it except for you without our partners. Last slide, please. If you'd like to join us, there's a QR code up in the top left-hand corner. That's where you can go to buy resources at biblescanada.com. If you're looking for English or French Bibles, please just go buy them. If you're looking for Pew Bibles, please just go purchase them. But if you want Bibles for new Canadians, you want Bibles for young people, for children, for frail seniors, then send me an email, because we have other partners who are looking to get those resources out to you and your parishes. Thank you very much. God bless, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much, and thank you for getting started before I was back so that we could be right on time here as I invite Brenna up to make a presentation from Mission and Service. Oh, and more stewardship related, around stewardship. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. Oh. My name is Brenna Baker. My pronouns are she, her, and yes, I am taller in person. Many of you have only met me online. My role is Community of Faith Stewardship Support Staff for our 3 Southwest Ontario regions. So I am General Counsel staff deployed to work with the regions on really generating generosity in all kinds of ways. And so I wanted to start with a question. Is anyone here right now not worried about money in your community of faith? Ooh, okay, I see like one or two small hands, like, yeah. Yeah, this is something that it's weird because we're all kind of anxious about it, but nobody wants to talk about it, right? So today I want to encourage you to commit to doing one thing related to stewardship or generosity in your community of faith. We know that action is the antidote to anxiety. You need to do something, almost anything. And in our work, what we find is communities of faith that take even just small steps in thanking people, inspiring people, inviting them to deepen their generosity. Just any small steps does result in increases in revenue, and more importantly, gives people more confidence in their community of faith, more joy, boosts morale. So I want to tell you about some things that you can do. First, if you're afraid to talk to me, because I can be a lot sometimes, and all I like to do is talk about money, and sometimes death, which we talked about last night in my workshop. So if you are a little bit afraid of me and just want to kind of dip your toes just ever so slightly into stewardship, we have a few resources for you. There are QR codes up there if you want to grab them quick. You can also come to my table later and I'll give you all the information you need. Basically, on the United Church website, if you search for stewardship, all this stuff will come up. First, we have free stewardship resource kits to download. These are 3 different kind of topics, or four, based on what you're looking for, with a lot of examples. So if you want to know how to write a really great letter of invitation to inspire folks to deepen their generosity, we have samples for you. If you're curious about narrative budgets and how that works, we have samples. If you want to write a really great tax receipt letter, which we encourage you to do, not just say thank you for your gifts last year, we have samples. So that's a way to get those. Also, next slide, we have full worship resources. We believe that generosity and stewardship is an integral part to our lives of faith and our walk of discipleship. This should be something we talk about in worship often, if not every week to some respect. But if you are looking for stewardship services and you don't know where to start, you can check those out as well on our website. There are series that go along with different times of the year and then kind of individual worship services. There are sermons included, children's time, all the prayers that you need, and the scripture verses, right? So you can say, I'm not talking about money, Jesus is talking about money. So those are there for you as well. Now, let's say you want to dive a little deeper, right? The water is warm. I'm there in the pool waiting. You know, if you've got your floaties on, I'm going to help you. We recommend you taking something called Getting Started in Stewardship. Has anybody here taken that one? Yeah, okay, some of you. This is a one-time 90-minute course that's offered on our churchx.ca learning platform. You can come on your own or with a team from your community of faith if you have one. If you don't, we'll help you build one after. And you learn with others from across the whole country about our approach to stewardship, our philosophy of stewardship, how it can be fun and exciting and not scary and overwhelming. And you get some resources with that to support you in increasing the journey. So that's kind of the dive a little bit in, right? Just get a little bit used to things and try some things out. But then, if you are ready to take the plunge, we will suit up and do stewardship best practices. Anybody taken that one in here? Okay, yes, Beth, and okay, sorry, what's your community of faith? Arkle, yes, Arkle. I know others too, other communities of faith in this region we'll talk about. But we have these intensive courses, stewardship best practices being kind of the hallmark one. It's 5 weeks of learning with some practical assignments, and the goal is to create an annual ongoing stewardship plan so that you integrate stewardship into your whole life together. It's not just 3 weeks in the fall when everybody scatters and doesn't want to hear about it. We talk about inspiring your neighbors and potential new donors to start giving, tons and tons of resources in that course. And it comes with a year of coaching from me where we meet about quarterly to set goals and to figure out what some of your hurdles are and how you might jump over them. The next time stewardship best practices will be offered is in fall 2025. Getting started, by the way, you have to, well, recommend, it's the United Church after all, advise. We would love to see you take Getting Started first. The next one is in June, so coming up, and then you'd be ready to do stewardship best practices in the fall. We also offer a two-session course called Setting Up Your Giving Program, all about stewardship campaign or giving program or season of stewardship, whatever terminology you like to use. That really dials in on what are you putting in that giving program package, how are you telling your story in that time, what are you actually inviting people to do in that time. That one is next coming up in the fall as well. And then Bequest and Estate Giving, another two-session course online. You can also do it, asynchronously at your own pace. We say on demand, kind of, where you work through videos and readings that you could do in one evening, really, with a team to set up your legacy giving program or bequest giving program. We help you write a policy and educate people about it and inspire people. That will be really important to the United Church of Canada is about to launch something called the Here I Am campaign, which is tied into our centennial year to help communities of faith develop these bequest giving programs and hopefully secure many gifts in the next couple of years to launch us into the next century of the United Church of Canada. So there's about to be tons of resources is the takeaway about legacy gifts. And so when we are working with you in one of our courses, we track data with you to see how you're doing, to find out what's going well, and something is always going well. We have generous people in our communities of faith, full stop. But there are places where we can grow. So we track with you total giving to your local ministry, the number of donors, your givings to mission and service, congregations that are giving more to mission and service often also are giving more to their local ministry. Generous people are generous, and it's not a competition. If anything, people who are coming into your church want to know that your church is generous before they start giving to your church. So you have to demonstrate that, and mission and service is an opportunity to do that. Mission and service donors, PAR donors, and how much is given through PAR. We track this with you over a few years and see where the trends are, see where you can grow. But more importantly, we track with you congregational morale. What does it feel like to actually celebrate the amazing ministry that you are doing? Do you show up every Sunday and talk about hope and resurrection and love, even when we don't like one another? Yes, you do that. Is that needed in the world today? Yes, and you're doing something amazing, right? Do you visit your sick and you're isolated and you're grieving people? Yes, you do that, and nobody else is doing that in the world. I mean, maybe there are, but you know what I mean, right? Like, this is special what we are doing as the church, and you need to tell people about it, and you will gain that confidence in our work to tell your inspiring story, and you will find joy in stewardship. Yeah, I'll give you that data and you'll be like, we got 2 new PAR donors, yeah, and it's the most exciting thing ever. So back to taking an action. You need to do something today, right, to help mitigate that anxiety you have about the future and money. And here's some things you can do. When you go back, you can make a PAR announcement in your worship service. You don't have to ask the board about doing that. You don't have to ask a committee about doing that. You may have to ask the person who organizes announcements about doing that. You could just stand up and do it. But you can tell people about PAR and invite people who are on PAR to consider, have they increased their offerings in the last decade? And if not, maybe boost it a little bit. Most people can give more than they already are. That's just a fact that we know. So you could do that. This is PAR month right now, May, if you didn't know, and we have tons of resources online to help you talk about PAR, to put announcements in your bulletin, to do fun skits if you would like to do that. One thing you can do right away when you go back, you can send a thank you letter to all your donors, a paragraph just saying how much they're appreciated, that the ministry is only possible because of them, and you love them and hope they have a great summer. You can do that. You could use one of our worship services. If you have a Sunday coming up where you don't quite know what to do, grab one of our worship services. You could commit to every worship service sharing one way that the offerings are being lived out in the world, right? Instead of just, freely we have received, now let us freely give, to say when you call for the offering, here is what it did this week. Right? It helped us to have Sunday school for our kids. It helped us to be our minister, be a representative in the town somehow. It paid the bill so that a number of community groups could safely be in this building. You can do that every Sunday, right? And tell a mission and service story. That's another thing you can do right away to inspire deeper generosity that doesn't need a ton of work in a committee and all kinds of permission. Do it right away. Okay, and don't take my word for it that we are awesome and provide an amazing program, because I think we do. But here's some quotes from others who have taken our program. If your faith community does not have a standalone stewardship committee, then I urge you to form one and take this course, says Tony from St. John's, Newfoundland. Thanks, Tony. If you are starting on a stewardship journey, this course is for you and your team. Lots of guidance, resources, and encouragement from Laurel at Southampton. She's not here, is she? No, they did the course a while ago, so. And Jane from New Minas, Nova Scotia says, a wonderful introduction to stewardship and what it can be for any community of faith. It helps to understand the whole aspect of stewardship, not just money. I like the emphasis on gratitude. We have so much to be thankful for. And our favorite quote, perfect for any congregation that would rather talk about sex than money. Or stewardship, sorry, I read it wrong, but that's from Laring in Oakville. And you can ask your neighbors here in WOW. So here are the communities of faith that have done this course in WOW, or one of our courses. Kincardine United, Harcourt Memorial, Southampton, St. Luke's in Cambridge, St. Andrews in Ripley, Avondale and Stratford, Keating North Derby, Owen Sound, Westminster Orangeville, Arkle United, Dublin Street in Guelph, Sauble Beach, Trinity Listowel, Atwood United, Thamesview Fullerton, Trillium Cambridge, Emmanuel Waterloo, and Three Willows in Guelph. So call up your neighbors and say, hey, how was it? Did it make a difference for you? Over and over again, we see that communities of faith that do something, really anything, have results when it comes to resources to live out your calling and your ministry in your community at large. So you have to do something, though. The money will not fall out of the sky, I'm sorry to tell you. If it does, please tell me. And I just want to leave by saying you have this opportunity right now through stewardship, actually, through generosity. You have the opportunity to offer hope, joy, and the knowledge that we can make a difference. Right now in the world, people are hungry to know that their lives can be impactful, that their money can do something other than just making them a consumer in the world. They want to be free of that. They want to know that they can change the things that they see as unjust. And your communities of faith can be a place where you offer that to people, where you give them a place to find that meaning and purpose and inspiration. So I encourage you to try something, anything, in the next little while. And if you need me, I'm here till the end of the meeting today. There's my contact. And again, some free mission and service resources on the table, information on our courses. There's a poster I'd love for you to write on. Just tell me what's inspiring about your community of faith. What is inspiring you right now? Grab a marker and write that. And there's candy and more, and pens and pins, so much. Okay, I'm sure I'm over my time. Thank you. Should I allow questions? No. No questions. Sorry. I won't be taking questions at this.
Normally I would, but I'm just so excited to introduce to you now the team of youth and youth leaders who I charged to find a way to deepen our relationships with one another in a fun and engaging way at our meeting here today, both in person and online. Dreaming and brainstorming and starts and stops led to this activity we're going to do together that I will invite them forward to introduce and explain.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Dales. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from Georgian Shores United Church in Owen Sound. I'm the leader of Christian Development and Outreach. You may have seen me wandering around with the youth that are at this event, and they did work hard to plan a game, which we invite you to participate in with us. So if you are not sitting at a table with a big white card at it, I would like to give you a minute to get to a table with a white card at it. Youth can help you move a chair if that's needed. If you're going to participate, that would be wonderful. The game, so you're not too nervous, is called Mingle Bingo. It does not require you to get up and move around once you're at a table with a card. We tried to have enough of us that a youth or a leader will join each of you at a table.
From what I can see, at table 8, you don't have a big white sheet. You'll have to move to a different table. Oh, sorry, my microphone came on. Sorry about that. I'm yelling at table 8. Table 8, because there isn't a big white sheet, you just find another table, take a chair if you need to, and join up together so that you are at a table with a big white sheet on it. We left space on the tables. You won't need to look at the stage for this game, I believe. So you can find a chair and face backwards. Over here on this side of the court, there might be a space at that table. There's a space at table 4, they're saying, table 10.
It looks like A and B have 2 seats.
Is there a big white sheet? Nothing back. Right, so you need to move.
Folks online,
No,
it's Michelle
all those
speaking, the
tables
tech
need to move
host.
on to the other tables. The youth
So
chose
I've shared the
what tables to put a
whiteboard
big
with
white
you.
sheet at, and table
And
13
what I'll
you missed
do
out.
is when
Sorry
they
about
call
that.
out,
Table 14,
like
no.
call out the like B1, if there is somebody here, you have to shout out to me so I know, or you can access it yourself, and we will mark them off. I'm going to mark them off as official as the official bingo card holder, but let me know. Okay. But if those are who are making X's now that you've done that, that's really helpful for me to know. So this is going to be me in the purple. Sorry, that's me moving. I'm going to be in the purple. Sorry, that came out as black. It should be purple. Purple. Oh, the board moved again.
It was half purple.
Let's see. So maybe I'll just do I'll circle it if it's if we yeah, only one X per square, but it is helpful for me to see that if somebody has done that thing, like has sung Handel's Messiah in its entirety, it's kind of good for me to know, because otherwise you're gonna have to put it in the chat so that I know that we actually can claim that. I'm going to use a big highlighter, purple. I don't know why the card keeps moving. So this will be oh, it moved again. So this will be our free space. And we're going to need Unifor to come back online so we know what letters and numbers they call. We need to have Unifor unmuted.
I'm working on it.
Oh, thank you, Jen.
Unifor, can you unmute on Zoom, please? I muted you.
And we need the board to stay in one place. If you folks can try not to move the entire board, that would be helpful. We got our free space here. Oh, good. Okay, good. Thank you, Marilyn.
Can you unmute the Zoom feed, please? Can they hear me?
Thanks, Marilyn. Oh, thanks, Fran. That's a beautiful miracle. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Handel's Messiah. Suzanne, yes, that is a foreign country.
I'm going to turn it over to Sophia Hepburn, and she is going to draw the questions out of a hat.
Thank you, Bruce.
And you can flip your cards over now.
Where did our card go? It looks like it disappeared. Looks like, oh, there it is.
So, hello everybody. My name's Sophia Hepburn. My pronouns are she, her. I'm going to draw from this hat, and then you will have to find the question on your board and discuss if one of you meets the criteria.
Thanks, Betty. Okay.
So our first question,
I don't see the board now.
For our first bingo square. Has planned, made, and served over 200 people at a meal. A singular meal.
Okay. Bonnie Holiday? Yes. So which one is that? Where is it? Planned and gathered. Where was that? If somebody else has got control of the board right now, so if you see that planned the meals for 200 and served, can you please do a big circle on it?